Hello everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. In this video, I wanted to kind of go over the new Elaphe motors and a little bit about what they talked about in the powertrain of the webinar. In the webinar, they made a couple announcements that Elaphe is going to be the supplier of the motors. So they're going to manufacture the motors themselves in Slovenia, and they're going to deliver them to Aptera. Now, we know from watching Elaphe's channel and going through their website that they are building currently a production facility in Slovenia that they're going to have a mass production facility. Currently, they have a development facility where they can make small batches of motors, but not at large scale. And so I think the motors that they deliver to Aptera initially will be the small batch that they're making at their development facility, and then sometime in 2023, their mass manufacturing facility will open up, and then they'll be able to deliver motors at scale. So I think Aptera, the first, it kind of syncs up with Aptera's timeline too, because Aptera is going to hand make a few vehicles at their development facility until they scale their production in 2023. So their production scale matches Elaphe's production scale. Um, and then eventually they're planning on opening a US production site. So I think Aptera's motors, they're planning on either Elaphe is going to build production facilities in America for Aptera, or perhaps Aptera is going to build a production facility for the motors for their own vehicles, licensing Elaphe's technology. But the other thing that I found interesting was this rendering of the new Elaphe motors. Now, this is just a render, it's not a picture, but this render looks vastly different than the previous iterations of the motors that we've seen before. So the motors that we've seen before are the M700 Elaphe motors. That's the standard motor that you see on their website. Um, and it was seen, you can see this is the M700 motor. This was in the Aptera November update. And then here's a picture from Kirsten Dirksen's video from a while back showing the M700 and also the look of the control arms. See, the control arms back then were just like metal struts, and the wiring was like taped together with electrical tape in the back. And then with the beta, you can see that they routed the high voltage wires in the lower control arm, and they didn't have the steering rod installed here. And you see the M700 motor here, which is a very kind of encased motor. There isn't, it's very solid, all the pieces in here. However, if you look at this thing, the motor is more of the spider design, and it looks like they removed a lot of weight from the motor by making like a spider design. And then it looks like they're routing the wires through the upper control arm rather than the lower control arm. Maybe they did this because the lower control arm just gathered a lot of road debris, and they didn't want the road debris sitting on these wires. I'm not sure what the reasoning was, but somehow they did. And it looks like their additive design or their computer optimization software took out these uh, basically took out some subtracted some material from the upper control arm to make it lighter. Now, I don't know what this does to the aerodynamics of the thing, but I'm sure they took that into account. But I just thought that this was exciting, and it looks like you can see the exposed brake calipers in here. So the looks like the motors that are designed for Aptera are going to be significantly lighter than the M700 motors, and it's a I like the look. It's a very clean look with all this excess material removed, and probably allows for more venting so that there is better cooling and removal of the brake dust. I also don't see in this render any ports for coolant. If you look here, these are the ports for the coolant of the motor. So I don't know if this means that they don't, because it's so vented, they feel like they don't need cooling, or if they just forgot about adding the cooling in the renders. So I'm not sure what the case is there. But I do like the new look of this motor, and I do think it's going to be much lighter. And of course, one of the problems with in-wheel motors is that the heavy motors are more unsprung weight. So the lighter you can make the motor, the better, that the less unsprung weight there is, and the less impact there is on the vehicle handling, and less impact on the suspension. And the suspension doesn't have to work as hard to get rid of the oscillating motion. So I think that is a really cool step, and I really like the look of it, honestly. I mean, these things looked pretty cool too, but this just looks so much better. So anyways, we know now that Elaphe is um, supplying the motors. It's not being made by Foxconn at the Lordstown facility like I was speculating earlier. Um, they're going to directly do it, and it looks like in mass production, it's going to come from the Slovenian facility that they're building right now, and the production ramp of the Elaphe motors will match the production ramp of Aptera's vehicles. So very good. All right, well, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks again to our supporting members um, who helped make this channel possible. And thank you all for watching. Thank you for your comments. I really enjoy reading them. And have a great day, everyone.